Hey there, and welcome back to our exciting series, Trailblazers We Love. And today I am beyond excited to introduce you to my favorite Trailblazer, Natalie Battista. Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Shannon. Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, so we have a couple quick questions. And the first one I want to ask you is, Natalie, how in the world did you get started in the Salesforce ecosystem?
Oh, man. In the early 2000s, trying not to date myself, I was a user, and it was one of those systems that just got thrown at us along with all the other ones we were supposed to be using at the employer that I was with. So I started as a user, then worked my way up into the admin role where I thought, you know what? Now that I'm an admin, I'm going to fix all the things that I wanted to fix when I was a user.
This is my favorite sort of thing, Natalie, because somebody who's been a user really understands the challenges and the possibilities. And so taking that experience and turning it around is so cool. And I love that you've been using Salesforce for, it seems like as long as you've been alive, because I can't believe that you've been doing this since the early 2000s.
Yep. Yep.
So you have seen everything then. You've seen all sorts of Salesforce resources come and go, be introduced. I'm curious to hear, what is your favorite Salesforce resource?
I go to my community groups, if not daily, then definitely weekly. I set aside an hour a week just to scroll through them, just to see if anything cool has popped up or any issues that, other people have been reporting. And that's the first place that I go whenever I have questions, or if I want to see if something that I'm working on is something others are working on. So that's my go-to.
That's awesome. And this is why your clients love you so much because you're so invested in seeing that. And I'll tell you, I do the same thing Monday nights, when those Sunday digests come rolling in.
Yep.
That's my favorite. I think that's a really underrated Salesforce resource that people know about and don't use so much. But I know that you probably know an even more underrated Salesforce product or best kept Salesforce secret. So I'd love to hear what you think about that.
The one thing I see frequently when I log into orgs is the lack of chatter use. And it's astounding because chatter is so cool. People ask, how can we improve our adoption? That's the first thing that pops into my mind is chatter. It's just such an easy tool to use across all of the objects, and it's so underrated.
It is underrated. I can remember being at Dreamforce when chatter was first sort of announced and the absolute chatter surrounding it. And I love it too. I think it's so great. And I think the organizations that use chatter definitely are better Salesforce users.
I agree.
So I would love to hear any predictions that you have, knowing that you know Salesforce really well because you've been using it for so long. We've been surprised by some things. There were some acquisitions that were big surprises to us. Do you have any interesting Salesforce predictions?
I would say I foresee a female co-CEO in their future.
That is the best Salesforce prediction I've heard yet. Oh,
That'd
that
be
would be
awesome.
so exciting. Yeah. Do you have somebody in mind, or you just think there's going to be a female co-CEO?
How about you?
Well, I'm busy working with you every single day.
That's true. I don't have any suggestions, but I would love to see that happen.
Me too. I can think of a couple of amazing people that work at Salesforce that would be phenomenal co-CEOs. Wow, I hope your prediction comes true. That would be fun. All right, we want to know more about you, Natalie, not just Salesforce, Natalie. So tell us something else that you recommend, a book or a podcast, a cooking show, anything that you really love that is not related to Salesforce.
Oh my goodness. Something that I started doing recently is reading actual magazines again. So subscribing to a magazine, the paper format, waiting for them in the mail once a month. Like, it's exciting to wait for something to be mailed to you, and just having the time that your eyes can rest, that you don't have to look at a screen or a phone or an iPad, and just I'm looking at my trusty old magazine and I'm relaxing, reading about women's health or the Food Network. So that's my latest go-to for stress relief.
I love this, Natalie. I love the idea of a magazine. Salesforce just launched a magazine. I know this is supposed to be a non-Salesforce related one, but Salesforce just launched a magazine and I've had 2 issues of it already. And exactly what you're saying, it's so nice to not be on a screen and to see the way things are laid out and sort of feel that tactile sensation of opening a
Mhm.
magazine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So you've been reading magazines. This is exciting. I love it. Tell me, Natalie, where can people find you if people want to connect with you? Because I know that you share a lot of good information and you are a person who stays on top of things. And if people have questions, how can they find you?
You can go to our website. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube and Twitter. So I'm available in all those places if you have questions, and I'm happy to answer.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today, Natalie. I love your Trailblazer story, and I personally am very invested in watching it continue to grow.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, everybody, and join us for more of the Trailblazers We Love series. And thank you to Natalie Battista for joining us today.
Thanks, everybody.